Okay, part 3 of the chapter, Dear Theologian, from the book Losing Faith in Faith, written by Dan Barker. And this is God talking. How do I decide what is right and wrong? I don't know how I got here, but I'm here. Let's just say that my purpose is to make good people out of my creations. Let's say that I am to help you learn how to be perfect like me, and that the best way is for you to act just like me, or like I want you to act. Your goal is to become little mirrors of myself. Won't that be splendid? I'll give you rules or principles, and you try to follow them. This may or may not be meaningful, but it will keep us both busy. I suppose that from your point of view this would be terribly meaningful, since you think I have the power to reward and punish. I know that some of you Protestant theologians think that I give rewards not for good deeds, but simply for believing in my son Jesus, who paid the punishment for your bad deeds. Well, Jesus spent only about 36 hours of an eternal life sentence in hell, and now is back up here in ultimate coziness with me. Talk about a wrist slap. He was not paroled for good behavior. He was simply released. He had connections. If my righteous judgment demanded absolute satisfaction, then Jesus should have paid the price in full, don't you think? Beyond that, it is entirely incomprehensible to me why you think I would accept the blood of one individual for the crime of another. Is that fair? Is that justice? If you commit a felony, does the law allow your brother to serve the jail sentence for you? If someone burglarized your home, would you think justice was served if a friend bought you new furniture? Do you really think that I am such a bloodthirsty dictator that I will be content with the death of anyone for the crime of another? And are you so disrespectful of justice that you would happily accept a stand-in for your crimes? What about personal responsibility? It is tough to open my arms to welcome believers into heaven who have avoided the rap for their own actions. Something is way out of kilter here. But let's ignore these objections. Let's assume that Jesus and I worked it out, and that evil will be punished and good rewarded. How do I know the difference? You are insisting that I not consult any rule book. You are asking me to be the final authority. I must simply decide, and you must trust my decision. Am I free to decide whatever I want? Suppose I decide I would like you to honor me with a day of my own. I like the number 7. I don't know why. Maybe because it is the first useless number. You never sing any hymns to me in 7/4 times. Let's divide the calendar into groups of 7 days and call them weeks. For harmony, I'll divide each lunar phase into roughly 7 days. The last day of the week, or maybe the first day, I don't care, I'll set aside for myself. Let's call it the Sabbath. This all feels good, so I suppose it is the right thing to do. I'll make a law ordering you to observe the Sabbath, and then if you do, then I will pronounce you good people. In fact, I'll make it one of my big 10 commandments, and I'll order your execution if you disobey. This all makes perfect sense. I don't know why. Help me out here. How am I supposed to choose what is moral? Since I can't consult any authority, the thing to do, it appears, is to pick randomly. Actions will become right or wrong simply because I declare them to be so. If I whimsically say that you should not make any graven or molten images of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth, then that is that. If I decide that murder is right and compassion is wrong, you will have to accept it. Is that all there is to it? I just decide willy-nilly what is right and what is wrong? Or worse, I decide based on whatever makes me feel good. I have read in some of your literature that you denounce such self-centered attitudes. Some of you say that since I am perfect, I can't make any mistakes. Whatever I choose to be right or wrong will be in accordance with my nature, and since I am perfect, then my choices will be perfect. In any event, my choices will certainly be better than your choices, you feel. But what does perfect mean? If my nature is perfect, whatever that means, then I am living up to a standard. If I am living up to a standard, then I am not God. If perfection means something all by itself apart from me, then I am constrained to follow its path. If, on the other hand, perfection is defined simply as conformity to my nature, then it doesn't mean anything. My nature can be what it wants, and perfection will be defined accordingly. Do you see the problem here? If perfection equals God, then it is just a synonym for myself, and we can do away with the word. We could do away with either word. Take your pick. If I am perfect, then there are certain things that I cannot do. If I am not free to feel envy, lust, or malice, for example, then I am not omnipotent. I cannot be more powerful than you if you can feel and do things that I cannot. Additionally, if you feel that God is perfect by nature, what does nature mean? The word is used to describe the way things are or act in nature. And since you think I am above nature, you must mean something else, something like character or attributes. To have a nature or character means to be one way and not another. It means there are limits. Why am I one way and not another? How did it get decided that my nature would be what it is? If my nature is clearly defined, then I am limited. I am not God. If my nature has no limits, as some of you suggest, then I have no nature at all, and to say that God has such and such a nature is meaningless. In fact, if I have no limits, then I have no identity, and if I have no identity, then I do not exist. Who am I? This brings me back to the conundrum. I don't know who I am. Then how can I decide? If I don't know who I am, then how can I decide what is right? Do I just poke around in myself until I come up with something? There is one course I could pursue, and some of you have suggested this for yourselves. I could base my pronouncement on what is best for you humans. You people have physical bodies that bump around in a physical world. I could determine those actions that are healthy and beneficial for material beings in a material environment. I could make morality something material, something that is relative to human life, not to my whims. I could declare, by conclusion, not by edict, that harming human life is bad, and that helping or enhancing human life is good. This would be like providing an operation manual for something I designed and manufactured. It would require me to know all about human nature and the environment in which you humans live, and to communicate these ideas to you. This makes a lot of sense, but it changes my task from one of determining morality to one of communicating morality. If morality is discovered in nature, then you don't need me, except maybe to prod you along. I saw to it that you have capable minds with the ability to reason and do science. There is nothing mysterious about studying how humans interact with nature and with each other, and you should be able to come up with your own set of rules. Some of you tried this millennia before Moses. Even if your rules contradict mine, I couldn't claim any higher authority than you. At least you would be able to give reasons for your rules, which I can only do by submitting to science myself. If morality is defined by how human beings exist in nature, then you don't need me at all. I am off the hook. From what I have read, most of you have your feet on the ground with no help from me. I could hand down some stone tablets containing what I think is right and wrong, but it would still be up to you to see if they work in the real world. I think we all agree that grounded reason is better than the whim of an ungrounded deity. This is a wonderful approach, but what bothers me is that while this may help you know what is moral in your environment, it doesn't help me much. I don't have an environment. I'm out here flapping in the breeze. I envy you. Nor does the humanistic approach help those of you who want morality to be rooted in something absolute outside of yourselves. It must be frightening for you who need an anchor to realize that there is no bottom to the ocean. Well, it's frightening for me also. I don't have an anchor of my own. That's why I'm asking for your help. Thank you for reading my letter and for letting me impose on your busy schedule. Please answer at your convenience. I have all the time in the world. Sincerely, yours truly.